All right, looks like we're recording. All right, ma'am, it's all yours.
Okay, well, I'll just give that back to you. Welcome, everybody. I guess, does anybody in the public have anything they want to start with? I guess we'll address that first and then get to Chief. Mr. Guidotti or Dr. Perlmutter? Oh, okay. All right, then that's all yours, Chief.
All right, I'll start with our October statistics for 2020. In October 2020, we handled 684 calls for service. We issued 3 parking tickets. We issued 74 moving citations. We investigated 6 traffic accidents and made 2 arrests, both of which were for DUI. We're still trending up on service calls for the year, even despite the pandemic, but most of those remain in the area of business and residence checks, mainly business checks with a lot of stores being closed and changing hours through the last couple of months. So we remain heavily active with that. Personnel-wise, we still have 1 officer out with an off-duty injury. His prognosis, without getting into detail, because it is an off-duty injury, could be as little as 2 weeks or as much as 8 weeks. So I should know more shortly. But because we have 13 others right now active and going, we're in pretty good shape staffing wise. The 2 arrests this month both occurred on October 31st. One was at 12:24 in the morning, and that occurred on College Avenue, and that was for DUI. The next one occurred later that day at 2:49 p.m. and was for possession of heroin, possession of drug paraphernalia, DUI, and an unregistered motor vehicle. Both of those parties were released and are pending court. One thing I would like to point out is our hours continue to be, while our service calls are on the incline, our hours expended continue to be on the decline. In October of 2019, we expended 1,381 man hours. And in October of 2020, we utilized 1,298. So we were about 90 hours less, and that included 21.3 hours for volunteer service by both auxiliary police officers and our college intern. On that note of auxiliary police officers, our borough manager, who's not here today, unfortunately, received another concern from another voiced concern yesterday on the while waiting to vote, that the auxiliary police officers are costing the borough tons of money. I'd like to send the record straight on that and say this is a cost neutral program. It's been a cost neutral program. It's providing staffing hours to the department in some areas where it's going to increase public safety. And even the uniforms, which were purchased at a nominal fee, this year we saw Sergeant Golden dedicate $285, his contractually guaranteed uniform allowance, to the auxiliary police officers. Officer Gillock dedicated $125 of his dedicated uniform allowance to the auxiliary police officers' uniforms. And Officer Clark dedicated $210 of his contractually guaranteed uniform allowance to the auxiliary police officers, for a total of $530 so far. And I anticipate more officers to dedicate their contractually guaranteed allowance to that. So I want to guarantee everybody that remains cost neutral. It's an incredible program. It's going to bring people into the police department that care very much about this community, and I look very forward to their training being completed. With that, the only other thing I have is we were in support of the Upper Makefield Township Police Department. On Saturday, we had 1 officer assigned to the Upper Makefield Township Police Department for presidential protection detail and crowd control. Many Bucks County police departments were asked to participate to assist. It takes many people to pull something like that off. Outside of that, we were staffed well yesterday for Election Day as a protection detail. Thankfully, we only had 1 anonymous call to us with an election concern. It was not criminal, so it was referred to our constable, Brad Barney, who investigated and determined it did not occur in Yardley. It occurred in another municipality. So thankfully, we had no incidents at the polls. And that concludes my report now.
Mr. Mayor, do you have anything to report or talk about this evening?
Nothing specifically. Hey, Chief, just a quick thought that came to my head. In terms of, and it's way down the road, but in terms of Jersey looking like they're going to legalize marijuana, do we have any thought, like, is that still, if someone says, hey, I bought this in New Jersey and comes over here, is that still criminal here? Would that be the process?
A lot of this is going to remain to be reviewed by the Pennsylvania Attorney General's office. My quick answer to you right now would be, yes, it would be illegal in the state of Pennsylvania.
Okay.
And we shouldn't see an impact of this until late in 2021.
Okay, cool. It was just a thought that came up in terms of all the election stuff, so I just figured I'd.
Very similar to the other way around, when Pennsylvania residents who are lawfully permitted to carry a firearm and lawfully licensed to carry a firearm enter into the state of New Jersey, and then are arrested, convicted, and find themselves in jail for 3 to 5 years.
Good example. Thank you.
Thank you. Wes, do you have anything to talk about this evening?
Yes, I do, ma'am. Last week, the chief and I participated in a conference call with Rabbi, I'm going to say Rabbi O because I would not get his last name proper. He's with Abrams Hebrew Academy, and they want to hold a student parade in December. So we sent him the new edition of the event plan. It's back. You're not going to see it tonight. Paula wants council as a body to have a chance to mull it over because it's the new format.
Okay.
But that is on the horizon. It's a small affair. It would require closing West College Avenue for about 90 minutes. I don't think it's insurmountable, but everything needs to be tweaked, and we typically tweak these plans as they come along, provided the council gives the blessing. So
Okay.
I thought Councilman Ross would be joining us tonight. I don't know if you've checked your email in the last hour. I sent the coop back out. Just because Councilman Ross has not had an opportunity to see it yet. So just to keep that on the burner at some point.
Okay, I'll get in touch with him. Okay.
That's all I have.
Thank you. Does anybody else have anything to add from the public? Any questions or comments? No? Okay. Well, I guess on that note, I'm sure we'll get 20 minutes back and see you at 7:30, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.